So, they want to get rid of the God gene. Isn't that something? We have a spark of the divine, a monad, an energy. And they want to pluck that out to make, what? More compliant, quasi-human, depleted of their soul kind of individuals. And, that video somehow got out, and I thought it was really interesting because, like I was showing you that story with the homeopaths that have met their untimely ends this last year or so. I mean, they had to be standing in that doorway of something so incredible that it must have just terrified these forces that know that their time has come to an end.
Let me get this straight. You don't believe in God because of Alice in Wonderland?
No, Through the Looking Glass. That poem, The Walrus and the Carpenter, that's an indictment of organized religion. The walrus, with his girth and his good nature, he obviously represents either Buddha or with his tusks, the Hindu elephant god, Lord Ganesha. That takes care of your Eastern religions. Now, the carpenter, which is an obvious reference to Jesus Christ, who was raised the carpenter's son, he represents the Western religions. Now, in the poem, what do? What do? They dupe all these oysters into following them and then proceed to shuck and devour the helpless creatures en masse. Now, I don't know what that says to you, but to me, it says that following these faiths based on mythological figures ensures the destruction of one's inner being. Organized religion destroys who we are by inhibiting our actions, by inhibiting our decisions, out of fear of some intangible parent figure who shakes a finger at us from thousands of years ago and says, do it and I'll fucking spank you.
The way you put it, I've never really thought about it like that before. What have I been doing with my life? What am I?
Yeah, I know. Listen, my advice to you, you take this money that you've been collecting for your parish, go get yourself a nice dress, fix yourself up. Find some man, find some woman that you can connect with, even for a moment, because that's really all that life is, sister. It's a series of moments. Why don't you seize yours? Atta girl.
Here's what I don't get about you. You know for a fact that there is a God. You've been in his presence. He's spoken to you personally. Yet I just heard you claim to be an atheist.
I just like to fuck with the clergy, man. I just love it. I love to keep those guys on their toes. Man, now here's what I don't get about you, man. Why do you feel the need to come to this place all the time?
My friend, because this is humanity at its best. Look at them. All that anger, all that mistrust, all that unhappiness. Forgotten. That one perfect moment when they get off the plane. See those two? What that guy doesn't know is that the girl cheated on him while she was away.
She did?
Twice. Nice. It doesn't matter right now because they're just both so relieved to be with one another. I like that. I wish they could all feel that way more often.
Is this why I had to come down here this morning, man? Is this why I had to miss my fucking cartoons? You call me, you tell me it's important, What, to share in your half-assed obsession with Hallmark moments?
We're going home. Somebody sent us this in the mail. Take it, man, and quit leering at me. People are gonna think I just broke up with you or
You
something.
did just say we're going home, didn't you?
Read.
Cardinal Glick cuts ribbon on Catholicism WOW campaign. And?
You have to keep reading.
The rededication of St. Michael's Church.
Is the kickoff of a new campaign which seeks to bring Catholicism into the mainstream. With a papal sanction, the archway entrance of the century-old Jersey Shore house of worship will serve as a passageway of plenary indulgence, a little-known Catholic belief which offers all that passes through its arches a morally clean slate. For Sunday News Brief, I'm Grant Hicks.
Wait, so all I gotta do, I walk through the arch thing, and then I can go back home?
By walking through the archway, all your sins are forgiven. Then all we have to do is die.
Die? I don't want to die.
What, you'd rather hang around here for a few more
No,
years?
we don't even know if we can die. All right, but what if we can, and then the arch thing doesn't work? What then? Hell? Fuck that.
It's impossible.
Fuck that.
If we cut off our wings and transubstantiate to complete human form, we become mortal. If we die with clean souls, there's no way they can keep us out. We won't be angels anymore, but at least we get to go home.
Who sent the paper?
Who cares who sent the paper? All that matters is that after all these years, we found a loophole. He can't keep us out anymore. And once we get back in, I'm sure just forgive and forget.
But this is church law. It's not divine mandate. Church laws are fallible because they're created by men.
One of the last sacred promises imparted to Peter, the first pope, by the Son of God before he left was, whatever you hold true on earth,
I'll hold true in heaven.
it's dogmatic law. The church says it's so, God must adhere. This thing has a papal sanction.
Let it never be said that your anal retentive attention to detail never yielded positive results.
Can't be anal retentive if you don't have an anus.
Outstanding work! Oh, there's just one thing I think we gotta do before we leave. This is gonna help us get back on his good side.
What?
Here, I've been dreaming about this for 5 years. Read that.
Mooby the Golden Calf, creating an empire out of simplicity.
I wanna hit him.
You really are just a simple creature. We finally find a way back and you want to jeopardize that because you got a soft spot for the good of it.
Hey, what better way to repent than by resuming the position I once denied, thanks to you?
I really don't think a killing spree is going to make things better for
Killing
us.
spree. I'm talking about divine justice here. I'm talking about raining down fire and brimstone, punishing the wicked. He's all about that. I know he'd want this done.
There hasn't been an angel of death since you quit. Doesn't that mean anything to you? And besides, what if you're wrong like you always are?
If I'm wrong, which I'm not, it's not gonna matter. We're gonna pass through your arch thing anyway. I'm gonna be forgiven. No harm, no foul.
Well, he does hate competition. I will say that. And your movie certainly falls under that heading.
Where is this church we have to go to?
New Jersey. Rededication ceremonies in 4 days.
Last 4 days on Earth? If I had a dick, I'd go get laid. We can do the next best thing.
What's that?
Huh? Let's kill people. Oh, not you.
Individuals who are religious fundamentalists, religious fanatics, and this is the expression, RT-PCR, real-time PCR expression of the VMAT2 gene. Over here, we have individuals. So let me complete. So over here, we have individuals who are not particularly fundamentalist, not particularly religious, and you can see there's a much reduced expression of this particular gene, the VMAT2 gene. Another evidence that supports our hypothesis for the development of this approach. What you see
here is by spreading this virus, we're going to eliminate individuals from going on a bomb vest and going into a market and blowing up the market.
So our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the VMAT2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. So we have some very, very remarkable data in this next slide. Here we have two brain scans. These are fMRIs. These are two different individuals with different levels of expression of VMAT2. On top is an individual who's a religious fanatic, an individual, and we've repeated this numerous times, that has high levels of VMAT2. Now, this individual down here who had low levels of the VMAT2 gene, this individual would self-describe as not particularly religious. In each case, these individuals were read a religious text. This individual lit up the right middle frontal gyrus, shown here, and that's a part of the brain that's associated with theory of mind. It's a part of the brain that has to do with intents and beliefs and desires. In marked contrast, here's an individual who would not particularly self-describe as religious, and when they're read a religious text, what you see is that this part of the brain called the anterior insula lights up. This is a part of the brain that's associated with disgust or displeasure on hearing something.
Are you suggesting I take a CT scan with me when I'm evaluating people to determine whether to put a bullet in their head?
The data that I'm presenting here supports the concept that we're proposing, and I think that we would not propose to do CT scans or fMRIs on individuals out in the hinterlands of Afghanistan. The virus would immunize against this VMAT2 gene, and that would have the effect that you see here, which is it's essentially to turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think that will have major effects in the Middle East.
How would you suggest that this is going to be dispersed? Aerosol?
Well, so the present plan and the tests that we've done so far have used respiratory viruses, such as flu or rhinoviruses, and we believe that that's a satisfactory way to get the exposure of the largest part of the population. Most of us, of course, have been exposed to both of those viruses, and we're quite confident that this will be a very successful approach.
This is fascinating. What's the name of this proposal?
Yeah, so the name of this project is FunVax, which is the vaccine for religious fundamentalism.
And you have a proposal already?
The proposal has just been submitted, and I think that the data that I have shown you today would support the development of this project, and we think it has great promise.
So, they want to get rid of the God gene. Isn't that something?
Who's in charge and what's going on? Love that angel. You know we are all so protected. And remember guys, no matter what happens, we're all going to be okay. Because this is surely a false program and an illusion going on in this world today. And really, we all want the same thing. We just want peace. We want to be happy, have productive jobs and lives, and be able to enjoy our families and support our community. So, here's the first shot of our apocalypse vehicle. And Joe decided to make this investment back at the end of January. It is pretty badass. We're going to be taking a ride without doors, and we don't even need to hold on for dear life. So, here comes Joe, and we're getting ready to go to market. So I'm going to hop in the Jeep. Good morning, Joe.
I guess you're not inside.
I laid on everybody as a surprise, so I do hope you enjoy it. My name is Suze, and I'll be one of the guides on this path. I'd like to show you, we all think we know what day it is, but I'd like to show you today's date. So, it is January 16th, 2016. I have a dear friend by the name of Litmus A. Freeman, and he is involved in the Universal Community Calendar. He says today's date, we would say it this way, 2710 Capricorn Y with that little symbol 13516 UCC. And you can find more information about this right underneath that line. Now, my dear hosts, Biggie and Mel, it's 8 p.m. their time, and it's 2 p.m. Central Time in Sue's world. So, that's what today is. Even if I spent the next half hour trying to explain to you guys who I am or what I do, we wouldn't even scratch the surface. Our true tale is wilder than any story that I could possibly spin. When people say, how did you
come on the computer after 30 years. And I said, well, you know, they recruited me. I used to tell this to my friends. Now, I'm going to say that I was recruited by the Galactic Federation 18 months ago to bridge concepts and unite people who otherwise may have not come to know each other. Our mission here at Sophia's Emporium is to provide you with the wisdom in small changes. Think of them like shifts. You could incorporate things that you may learn on this show into your lifestyle. And these things are known to yield large results and healthy fruit. So we're here to promote your quality of life. You also help us to keep our quality of life high, so it's a mutual give and take relationship. We want to bring alleviation of suffering and create new programs too, so that's what this show is all about. You may find it to be similar to a variety show. We're going to have different subjects, and I'm even going to have a few little video clip entertainment things for you guys that we will relate to what's going on in the world today. We invite anyone with a true heart to ask your question here. I want friends here, and I look forward to dialogue that stimulates the imagination and inspires creativity and gives us all an intuitive edge that we need in today's world. So, we're going to share with you very personal experiences, and more importantly than that, we want you to know how we came to believe what we know as truth. And this has all happened through super sensible knowledge and life experience over half of a century. All right, there's a quote that goes something like this: truth is but a half-truth, depending on one's perception at that moment. Now, we refuse to deny the seriousness of the hour here, but we do want to meet it with a lot of humor and courage. So with that, I'd like my producer, Biggie, to play our first clip, and it's a Betty Boop cartoon, and we'll discuss it afterwards. Enjoy.
What? No milk? Ah, shut up! One here, dude. There!
It's you who
So I hope y'all enjoyed that cartoon. And what can we really learn about that story? So, it's back in the 30s, and Betty Boop is wondering what being human is. And of course, back then, they didn't have any idea about AI intelligence or about clones or androids or any of the other things that we hear about these days. And really, we know that to just be human is an insane concept because, as we know now, there is a host of different, let's say, extraterrestrials, which would look just like we do, but they don't live here on this planet. And I'm sure that many of you are in circles where you learn about these things. And in this show, we will discuss a full range. Anything that you see in my next presentation is open for discussion. First, though, back to Betty, okay? Guys, we have to retain 51% love and light in our beings. If not, we can be puppeted and possessed. Now, you know, people make faces, but really, we can be puppeted and possessed by things of this world. Say greed, corruption, inability to discern truth. There's a lot of ways to be trapped in the box, isn't there? And at the same time, of course, there are things that are invisible, that are on planet as well as off planet, that puppet and possess people. Think about feelings and thoughts and emotions. All of those things are invisible. We think we own them, but maybe there's something else that kind of pokes the bear, you know? Maybe upset that guy in the cartoon that he had to hurt benevolent beings like animals. But wasn't it funny what he did at the end? You know, he gets thrown in a pit, and of course his fat butt has to run to make the whole thing go. And all of a sudden, cats are getting free milk, cows really get to be outside and live a life of an animal. I mean, isn't that really all we're asking for? So keep in mind that even though we were given dominion over the planet as we've been told, we are actually in the womb of Mother Earth. And whether we're an animal or a plant or a benevolent or malevolent human being, we are all one. So, let's get back to trying to explain my story. The never-ending story, I like to call it. Now, 18 months ago is when I typed my first thing into the computer. So, in August of 2014 was the first time that I was ever online. I had completely refused the internet since my senior year in high school, because surely, since I lived in a fear-based world back then, I just imagined the computer to be nothing but trouble. But now that I'm experiencing a 5D reality, you see, it's just all that is good, and it's our choice when we make it. So, on September 1st, 2014, is when I had a direct interactive phenomena with the computer. All these things are detailed. We're not going to go down that path today. We have too much fun to have. So, on January of 2015 I actually put my first YouTube on my YouTube channel. On December 9th, 2015, I did my first interview with my dear friend and mentor, Randy Moggins, at Off Planet TV.
Do I smell onions?
Excuse me. May I ask what you're doing in my boardroom?
You may proceed, mon ami.
I'm gonna have to start by apologizing. My friend has a bit of a penchant for the dramatic.
Oh, come on.
Mubi, the golden calf. Created by Nancy Goldberg, a former kindergarten teacher in 1989. Bought by the Complex Corporation in 1991. Broadcast nationally as the Mubi Funtime Hour. Since its inception, has spawned 2 theatrical films, 16 records, 8 primetime specials, and a library of price-to-own video cassettes. Not to mention bi-coastal theme parks, dubbed Mubi World. Did I miss anything? Or?
You forgot Mubi magazine.
Damn it.
Now, is there a point to this?
You and your board are idolaters. I can't believe you forgot the magazine.
It's you. Do you know much about voodoo? It's a fascinating practice. No real doctrine of faith to speak of, more an arrangement of superstitions. The most well-known of which is the voodoo doll. You see, a mock-up of an individual is subjected to various pokes and prods. The desired result is that the individual will feel those effects.
Call security.
Yes, sir.
Now.
All lines are currently down.
Okay, I'm gonna have to...
Would you just knock it off?
You're doing it again. Now, stop. Fuck. What did we talk about? You are responsible for raising an icon which draws worship from the Lord. You have broken the first commandment. More than that, I'm afraid not a one of you passes for a decent human being. Your continued existence is a mockery of morality. Like you, Mr. Burton. Last year, you cheated on your wife of 17 years 8 times. You even had sex with her best friend while you were supposed to be home watching the kids.
In the bed that you and your wife share, no less.
Mr. Newman, you got your girlfriend drunk at last year's Christmas party and then paid a kid from the mailroom to have sex with her while she was passed out, just so you could break up with her guilt-free when she sobbingly confessed in the morning. She killed herself 3 months later. Mr. Brace disowned his gay son. Very compassionate, Mr. Brace. Mr. Ray put his mother in a 3rd-rate nursing home and used the profits from the sale of her home to buy an oriental rug for himself. Heavens. Mr. Barker flew to Thailand on the company account to have sex with an 11-year-old boy. Mr. Holtzman okayed the production of Mubi dolls for materials he knew to be toxic and unsafe because it was, survey says, less costly. You, on the other hand, are an innocent. You lead a good life. Good for you. But you, Mr. Whitland, you have more skeletons in your closet than this assembled party. I cannot even mention them aloud.
You're his father, you sick fuck. Good. Not bad, right? That's great work. Very good. Well, alone at last. You know, with the exception of Miss Price here, there isn't a decent human being amongst you. Not one. Do you know what makes a human being decent? Fear. And therein lies the problem. None of you has anything left to fear anymore. You rest comfortably in seats of inscrutable power, hiding behind your false idol, far from judgment, lives shrouded in secrecy, even from one another. But not from God. Oh, forgot my little voodoo doll. Man, it really looks just like you, doesn't it? Look at it. If I believed enough in this, I wonder. But I do believe in this.
Don't run! Don't run! Sphinx! Sphinx! All of you! Sphinx! All of you!
I believe in this.
What does that mean?
And what do you grow on?
Done? Oh, it's okay. You've done nothing wrong. These guys were things. And you're a pure soul. But you didn't say God bless you when I sneezed.
Loki?
You're getting off light.